Rule number 2. I like this one. In the 18th century, there was something that spread across Europe and eventually made its way to America called puerperal fever, also known as the Black Death of Childbed. Basically what was happening is women were giving birth and they would die within 48 hours after giving birth. This Black Death of childbirth was the ravage of Europe, and it got worse and worse and worse over the course of over a century. In some hospitals, it was as high as 70% of women who gave birth who would die as a result of giving birth. But this was the Renaissance. This was the time of empirical data and science, and we had thrown away things like tradition and mysticism. These were men of science, these were doctors. And these doctors and men of science wanted to study and try and find the reason for this Black Death of childbed, and so they got to work studying, and they would study the corpses of the women who had died. And in the morning they would conduct autopsies, and then in the afternoon they would go and deliver babies and finish their rounds. And it wasn't until somewhere in the mid-1800s that Dr. Oliver Wendell Holmes, father of Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes, realized that all of these doctors who were conducting autopsies in the morning weren't washing their hands before they delivered babies in the afternoon. And he pointed it out and said, "Guys, you're the problem." And they ignored him and called him crazy for 30 years. Until finally somebody realized that if they simply washed their hands, it would go away. And that's exactly what happened. When they started sterilizing their instruments and washing their hands, the Black Death of childbed disappeared. My point is, the lesson here is, sometimes you're the problem. We've seen this happen all too recently with our new men of science and empirical studiers and these men of finance who are smarter than the rest of us until the thing collapsed. And they blamed everything else except themselves. And my point is take accountability for your actions. You can take all the credit in the world for the things that you do right, as long as you also take responsibility for the things you do wrong. It must be a balanced equation. You don't get it one way and not the other. You get to take credit when you also take accountability. That's lesson 2.
Hello, you have just watched our author of choice in our second episode of An Author a Day. Simon Oliver Sinek is a British-born American author, an inspirational speaker, and a corporate trainer.
Welcome back to another classic episode of our YouTube series.
In this episode, we are going to explore powerful concepts and insights presented by Simon Sinek. He is the author of 5 awesome books. The first one, Start with Why, published in October 2009. In this classic book, Sinek suggests that the key to long-term success lies on understanding and communicating the why behind your actions, rather than just focusing on the what and the how. He introduced the concept of the golden circle, which consists of 3 concentric circles. The outer circle represents the what, the middle circle represents the how, and the inner circle represents the why. So whether you are an aspiring entrepreneur, a leader in your field, or simply seeking to find fulfillment in your everyday life, this episode is meant for you. His second book, Find Your Why, published in 2017. This one too is a valuable resource for individuals, leaders, and teams seeking to uncover the deeper motivation and create a sense of meaning and fulfillment in their professional and personal lives. If I've mentioned you, this episode is a special dedication to you. His third and classic book that I love, Leaders Eat Last, published in 2014. He emphasizes when leaders prioritize the needs of their teams, provide a sense of purpose, and promote a culture of trust, it leads to higher levels of engagement, collaborations, and overall performance. Aspiring leaders, young or old, leaders of all levels, this is your episode. Another thought provoking book published in November 2018, The Infinite Game. In this book, he introduces the concept of finite and infinite games as a framework for understanding leadership, business, and life in general. Finite games have fixed rules, clear winners and losers, and a defined end. On the other hand, infinite games have no fixed endpoint, and the game is to keep on playing and perpetuate the game. He suggests that infinite-minded people focus on just a cause or a higher purpose that transcends immediate goals. According to him, an infinite mindset is crucial for addressing complex challenges, navigating change, and building resilient and successful enterprises. Another wonderful book, published in 2016, is known as Together is Better. In this book, he narrates that great achievement is rarely accomplished alone, and true fulfillment comes from helping others and being part of something bigger than ourselves. By now, I can feel that energy of wanting to know more. Should I give you a secret? Hit that subscribe button for more valuable tips and takeaways for your day-to-day lives. And because I value your time, let's dive together into the pages of these remarkable books and get some empowering tips you can use every day. To succeed, it takes more than the desire to win. It also takes the acceptance that we would fail. Leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of those in our charge. Don't quit. Never give up trying to build the world you can see, even if others cannot see. We are not victims of our situation. We are the architects of it. We achieve more when we chase the dream instead of the competition. Most of us live our lives by accident. We live as it happens. Fulfillment comes when we live our lives on purpose. A culture is strong when people work with each other for each other. A culture is weak when people work against each other for themselves. Integrity is when our words and deeds are consistent with our intentions. Fulfillment is not born of the dream. Fulfillment is born of the journey. Our lives are finite, but life is infinite. We are the finite players in the infinite game of life. We come and go, we are born and we die, and life still continues with us or without us. Regardless of what we do in our lives, our why, our driving purpose, cause, or belief never changes. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. Life changes for the better when we realize that we don't have to know everything and we don't have to pretend that we do. Though we may have desires or bold goals, for whatever reason, most of us don't think we can achieve something beyond what we are qualified to achieve. Why do we let reality to interfere with our dreams? We can't choose the game. We can't choose the rules. We can only choose how we play. Life is beautiful not because of the things we see or do. Life is beautiful because of the people we meet. I find when you are an optimist, life has a funny way for looking after you. If no one ever broke the rules, then would never advance. Leadership is always about people. Leadership requires two things: a vision of the world that does not yet exist, and the ability to communicate it. The true price of leadership is the willingness to place the needs of others above your own. Leadership is not a rank or a position, it is a choice. A choice to look after the person to the left of us and the one to the right of us. Leadership is not a license to do less, it is a responsibility to do more. Stress and anxiety at work have less to do with the work we do and more to do with the weak management and leadership. Bad leaders believe that they have to project control at all times. Leadership is a way of thinking, a way of acting, and most importantly, a way of communicating. The cost of leadership is self-interest. Leaders are the ones who have the courage to go fast, to put themselves at personal risk, to open a path for others to follow. Working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. Vision is the ability to talk about the future with such clarity it is as if we are talking about the past. We last longer if we compete against ourselves for the good of others instead of competing against others for the good of ourselves. It is better to disappoint people with the truth than to appease them with a lie. The goal is not to be perfect by the end. The goal is to be better today. Dream big, start small, but most of all, start. There are only two ways to influence human behavior. You can manipulate it, or you can inspire it. If you want to achieve anything in this world, you have to get used to the idea that not everyone will like you. You can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. Always plan for the fact that no plan ever goes according to the plan. When we tell people to do their jobs, we get workers. When we trust people to get the job done, we get leaders. A star wants to see herself rise to the top. A leader wants to see those around her become stars. The quality of a leader cannot be judged by the answers he gives, but by the questions he asks. We become leaders the day we decide to help people grow, not numbers. The ability for a group of people to do remarkable things hinges on how well those people can pull together as a team. A team is not a group of people who work together. A team is a group of people who trust each other. If you want to feel happy, do something for yourself. If you want to feel fulfilled, do something for someone else. It is not the demand of the job that causes the most stress, but the degree of control workers feel they have throughout their day. And that's what trust is. We don't just trust people to obey the rules. We also trust that they know when to break them. As the Zen Buddhist saying goes, how you do anything is how you do everything. No matter when or where, always bring your A game, because you never know when it will open doors for you. There is a difference between giving directions and giving direction. The only way to find out if it will work out is to do it. Safe is good for sidewalks and swimming pools, but life requires a risk if we were to get anywhere. Value is not determined by those who set the price. Value is determined by those who choose to pay it. If you care, do something. If you don't care, please stay out of the way of those who do. It doesn't matter when we start. It doesn't matter where we start. All that matters is that we start. When we try to please everyone, we end up pleasing no one, least of all ourselves. You don't hire for skills, you hire for attitude. You can always teach skills. If you have a gift, it is called a gift for a reason. You have to give it out. 100% of customers are people. 100% of employees are people. If you don't understand people, you don't understand business. Success is when reality catches up with your imagination. Okay. Our minds must be convinced, but our hearts must be won. Bad marketing values promotion. Good marketing promotes values. Great leaders sacrifice what is theirs to save what is ours. Marketing is like dating. It's a way to build a relationship with someone. Like any strong relationship, when done well, it takes time. Trust is not formed through a screen. It is formed across a table. It takes a handshake to bind humans, and no technology yet can replace that. There's no such a thing as virtual trust. You are a true champion. You are now wiser than you started. Give it a thumbs up for that reason. If you love our work, please drop a short comment or a heart. If you are new to our channel, please subscribe for more juicy content. Returning members, we love you. You keep us moving. Adios.